Okay. So yeah, welcome to izialpha. To kick off, can you explain? Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm good to be here. Thank you. I'm Dave Shin, based in Singapore. I am currently the COO of KRWQ, which is the very first tradable Korean won stablecoin that's live. I have historically in my past, I was an investment banker for almost 20 years. On the sales side, I have worked in banking in Canada, Bermuda, Hong Kong, Japan, and Singapore. I'm currently based in Singapore, and I have also been in crypto since 2012.
Wow, that's a long time. Yeah, my name is Jaden from CoinEasy. We are Web3 education and South Korea go-to-market. Yes, I think I entered Korea crypto 2019. So you're much more ahead than me.
Yeah, the market knows me as an early participant. I've been around for some time.
Yeah, yeah. Thank, really pleasure to have you. Um, so 2 decades in traditional finance, then deep in crypto, Clayton, Kakao, Tezos, Layer Zero, etc. What made you crossover and why the CEO sit at KRWQ now?
Um, well, there's a big narrative around stablecoins. Um, when I was at Layer Zero, I actually uh, was their very first hire in Asia. I was hired to
Mm,
build the business in Asia. So
mm,
the current head of Asia is someone that I hired and mentored before I left. I felt that the next big narrative
mm,
would be uh, in non-US dollar stablecoins, specifically for FX use cases.
mm.
So this is something that I always sort of thought about even when I was at Layer Zero. So when the opportunity came, uh, when the founders called and asked if I could help them with KRWQ, I thought it was a good opportunity.
Oh, that sounds really cool. Yeah, I think the cross chain and the layer zero, etc. It make a lot of sense. The dollar has hundreds of stable coins, and the one of the world's most actively traded cryptocurrency had almost no known chain until KRWQ. Only like CX and etc. Why has the one been missing?
Um, it's a restricted currency, right? As you know, there's
True.
capital controls. You can't take out,
Mm,
more than 10,000 US dollars a day out of Korea.
yeah. Yeah.
And as a foreigner, I can't actively trade Korean won.
Mm,
This is not just applicable to Korea, but it also applies to other restricted currencies like Chinese renminbi,
mm,
Indian rupee, Brazilian real, Argentinian peso. There's many currencies that are restricted,
mm,
um, and so a lot of people don't know. The younger people don't know why the restrictions and capital controls are there. But for someone like myself, who I'm in my
mm,
50s and I've been in banking, I remember the late 90s during the Asian
mm,
financial crisis
mm,
when the IMF had to come into Asia. Uh, a big reason for that happening was because um, as there was a shock to the region, economic shock, the markets were shocked. US dollar liquidity flew out of the region. It just
mm,
literally flew out.
mm,
And there was nothing that the central banks of Asia could do.
mm,
And so, learning from that in the late 90s, the central banks of Asia and other developing countries decided to put restrictions and capital controls. So, that's really, but what that does is it does not allow for a free operation of trading currencies, right? So today, people cannot freely trade Korean won from outside Korea. The only way that they can trade is basically in size. If you want to trade in size, I'm talking more than 10,000. You have to trade using something called a non-deliverable forward contract.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of these corporates, institutions, asset managers, treasuries, this is how they trade Korean won from offshore. So really, there's a real opportunity there when you look at the size of that market.
Yeah, 1000%. I think a lot of people don't know what you just told us. So I think it's really, really, really insightful. For someone new, what does on-chain one actually let people and institutions do that today's system cannot?
Yeah, today, so for us, we're very focused today, we're very focused in on offshore FX,
Mm,
right? How we can bring more of that trading on chain.
mm,
We're not focused on onshore payments or anything onshore. There's no
yeah.
regulation. So at this stage, that's not what our priority is. But the opportunity offshore, actually from a market size, is much bigger than even onshore Korean won trading. So it's about 5 to 6 times the size. And so when we looked at that, we realized, well, what if we can even bring 5% of that on chain? There's so many benefits in that. A, much cheaper for people trading. B, more of the trading information and data is on chain, so it's transparent. And C, you're creating more liquidity on chain. And then the last thing is really creating a way for regulators in Korea to be able to view what these offshore trades look like, which they can't do today, because all the offshore trading is done through large prime brokers at the banks, like Goldman Sachs prime broker, Barclays prime broker, all these big prime brokers. They're the ones who are facilitating these trades, and because they're not public entities, this information is not open for people to see. What we can see is on exchanges, we can see futures. And there are a few futures on Korean won. I think there is one on SGX, but really it's costly to trade. And it's really not that deep in liquidity. So more people trade OTC NDF, Korean won, than they do the futures, the listed futures. So, but yeah, those are the main reasons. With Korean won, my personal feeling is I don't think it's going to be a big cross-border payment stablecoin. I actually think the bigger opportunity is around trading. So this is why we felt that, not only because of regulation not being onshore yet, but also because the opportunity set is much bigger for trading offshore.
Yeah, thank you for the insight. I think that this is really valuable information because a lot of people ask like what KRW can do, like why we need to do the on-chain. I think even for regulators and other players, it's really good insight for them. So
Yeah,
I think it's
one thing that people don't realize, especially people in Korea,
yeah.
the average person doesn't realize how much Korean won against US dollar is being traded offshore. That size of that market is about 15 to 20 billion US dollars a day.
Wow.
It's just because you can't trade direct. Like I can't sell US dollar and buy Korean won direct. As we said earlier, it's a restricted currency, so you can't do that. What you have to do is you have to basically go and trade Korean won versus US dollar through these forward contracts. right? Forward contracts are derivative contracts where you're essentially betting on the future price
Yeah.
of the Korean won currency, but it settles in US dollar. So it's also, because it's a derivative contract and you trade on margin, you also fund US dollar as collateral to trade. So that is a very large, as I said, 15 to 20 billion US dollars a day of Korean won NDF is traded. It's very large.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah. I don't think that information, not a lot of people know about it.
I don't think many people, because it's very institutional information.
Yeah.
If you go to, the securities companies and the brokers in Korea, they will definitely know. The regulators will definitely know, because they have been trying to understand how to repatriate or bring some of that flow back onshore.
Mhm.
Because it's just a lot of, it's like people speculating on Korean won, right? That
Yeah.
they cannot control.
Yeah.
So my message to the regulator has always been, look, if we do this, it's actually good for Korea onshore, because I can then bring this information on chain for everyone to see and analyze. And that way you can plan more to figure out how to bring those flows back to Korea.
Oh, that's so interesting. I think, yeah, I think this information is really helpful for everybody to understand what exactly going on KRW, and how they can fix this problem. Yeah, and yeah, please walk us through how KRWQ holds is pegged to the one mint redeem reserve. Like, we are, um, yeah. So just want to
Yep.
know.
So when we first launched at the end of October last year, 2025, there was really no way for us to acquire or purchase reserve assets. So as you know, stablecoins, generally the model, for, like USDT or USDC, for example, is they buy US Treasuries, and they effectively use that as collateral, to then mint US dollar against. So we have a similar model for Korean won, but when we launched at the end of October last year, we had yet to identify a provider that could sell us Korean treasury bonds or Korean government bonds or money market liquid funds that were denominated in Korea. So what we ended up doing, just to start the project and get things going, was we decided to use just USDC as collateral
Mm,
to mint KRWQ. The
mm,
challenge there is we can't scale. That's not scalable, because there is an FX exposure between
mm,
our collateral US dollar and Korean won, depending on which way the Korean won is moving.
mhm,
KRWQ will have to get over collateralized with USDC
mm.
or under collateralized. So
Oh.
if you go to our website, www.krwq.cash/transparency, if you go to that section of the website, we make it very transparent as to how much exposure we've collateralized in USDC versus FRAX USD, which is one of the parent companies of KRWQ,
Yeah.
as well as recently, about 2-3 months ago, we ended up participating in being the first customer to buy tokenized Korean treasury bonds from the Shin Etherfuse offering.
Mm. Oh.
So everyone can go to our website and see what our reserve assets look like. But that's how we started. And now we are diversifying and adding more issuers and being onboarded to more providers that can sell us directly Korean government bond assets, Korean treasury bonds, money markets.
Mm,
So as we continue to onboard, we will diversify more into these government assets
mm.
that are
Yeah.
liquid and away from USDC.
Yeah, just curious, like the KRWQ publish reserve with monthly base. Why is verifiable in real time core to the brand, not just a checkbox?
We recently, this announcement I think came out yesterday or this week, but we have we're working with Chainlink on their proof of reserve, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
pretty much intraday, right?
yeah.
So it takes time to set up
Mm,
infrastructure. It's not that our team
true.
is not looking at these things. It's just um, some things take a little time to get closed and signed and done and operational setup. So we have attestation to confirm using the proof of reserve of Chainlink, which is more
Yeah,
real time or near real time. And then we also have a relationship that we onboarded with about, I want to say 3 or 4 months ago. It's
yeah,
a company called First Digital Trust out of Hong
yeah.
Kong.
Mm,
And they're currently trying to source more short-term Korean Treasury bonds for us.
yeah,
And so once they do, then we'll again acquire more. These are traditional bonds, not tokenized, traditional.
yeah. Mm,
And then we'll hold them in our trust account structure in Hong Kong with them, and we'll mint against that. But they too also provide an attestation
mm.
on our assets that they'll hold in the trust account. So, we're doing everything we can to be as transparent as possible, working with all the right partners.
Yeah, it makes sense. It taking a long time, and like currently there are a lot of DeFi hacking, like the CarpDAO, the yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, the
every week.
yeah. So I think we understand that it takes time to like checking everything, aligns, compliance, and everything. So yeah, definitely makes sense. Um, yeah, just curious, like KRWQ runs on FRAX stablecoins infrastructure, the rails behind BlackRock's build, um, like etc. Plus IQ's years in the Korean market. What does each side bring?
Yeah. So IQ, Korean crypto community knows
Mm,
IQ. Outside of
mm,
Korea, not many people really know IQ.
mm, mm, mm.
IQ, the founders of IQ and the founders of FRAX are the same founders.
Mm.
Uh, in fact, it originally started by launching IQ, which was called Everpedia before, in I think
Yeah.
2016, 2017. They rebranded to IQ, I think in 2018,
Mm.
which is about the time they listed their token on BitThumb and Upbit. So
Yeah.
there's a good community of IQ holders in Korea. Um, so IQ being in Korea as long as they have and having market recognition with the crypto community in Korea, um, it's a very good relationship for us to work with the IQ team
Mm.
and who are based in Korea to help us navigate through the regulation, but also to ensure that we have the right go-to-market strategy onshore in Korea when the regulations are there. So we're hearing, like everyone else, that regulation should be in Korea for stablecoin before the end of the year. So with the help of some of the onshore IQ team members, we're doing everything that we can to make sure that we're positioned to be ready to submit any sort of application for the regulation that comes in. Also, IQ has a lot of relationships, being in Korea since almost 10 years, since
Mm.
2018, with a lot of strong onshore partners that we're looking to work with. On the FRAX side, again,
Mm.
same founders for FRAX and IQ. On the FRAX side, it's purely just really the experience from them launching FRAX USD back in 2019, 2018, 2019, but more importantly, taking their infrastructure and using it. So it's all
Mm.
infrastructure that has been proven, including the smart contract itself. For KRWQ, it's a fork of FRAX USD. It's compliant. It's well adopted by institutions in the US like
Mm.
BlackRock and Securitize. So we feel very strongly that we have rock solid stablecoin infrastructure that we're using for KRWQ. So that's really how both sides contribute to KRWQ.
Thank you for the clear explanation. And yeah, on IQ we also own it, so it's really huge Wikipedia, decentralized Wikipedia
And the
platform.
idea, if I can just add there, the idea here is because it's all sort of the same group of people involved,
Mm,
you know, with what we're doing with KRWQ,
mm,
the benefits of KRWQ as it grows should benefit IQ token holders because there is a strong company tie between the two. And that's always been the idea,
mm,
is to ensure that we're generating real
mm,
utility, real value through the
mm.
stable coin that we can pass back to the IQ holders who've been with us since 2018 in Korea.
Yeah, I think it's, as an IQ holders, it's really good to hear that penetrate new market and uh, as a pioneer, that's really bullish from their side. Um, with the just curious, like with the Fireblocks integration, what concretely changed for an institution that wants KRW exposure or settlement?
Yeah, it just it gives us access to their Fireblocks network,
Mm,
um, where there's a lot of financial institutions that are connected and onboarded. Uh, but it also gives us a very well-established, well-known custodian to work with. So at the moment, we are very much focused in on the offshore trading, the NDF market, as I mentioned. That market is primarily, the customers in that market are primarily large TradFi funds.
yeah.
These are funds out of Wall Street, out of London,
Mm,
Japan, some of the biggest funds that are currently trading NDFs. And so if we're not working with top-notch, top-tier institutional crypto partners like Fireblocks, like EDX markets, um, the credibility becomes a little bit harder.
mm.
And so we want to make sure that we're working with very reputable, strong institutional players in crypto.
Yeah, that makes sense. The remittance, like treasury operation and commerce settlement, settling in KRW in seconds, which is real today and which is still roadmap.
Sorry, can you ask the question one more time?
Remittance treasury operation, like
Yep.
commerce settling in KRW in seconds, which is real today and which is still roadmap.
Right now, we don't have any off-ramping into Korean won for
Mhm,
settlement. Trading KRWQ, let's say on Aerodrome, which is where we are at the moment,
mm,
it's all done through USDC. So again, we're not looking at doing any sort of on-ramping or off-ramping with Korean won. There's no regulation, first of all, onshore.
mm,
Secondly, our priority at the moment today is to
mm.
try and solve the challenge in bringing, again, the trading of offshore Korean won on chain, which is all settled through US dollar at the moment.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for the clear answer. Yeah, and you have briefed central banks team across Asia and digital currencies. How do you explain the difference between a stablecoin like KRWQ and a CBDC, and why can both coexist?
Yeah, CBDCs, there aren't that many. They are, there's a big challenge around
Mm,
using CBDCs at the retail level,
yeah.
which is why there's been a lot of private issuers of stablecoins that have seen more success working with the banks. There are some big um, central banks like China that have been working on a CBDC, but my understanding is Korea will likely not go down that path, even though Bank of Korea has suggested to do that. My understanding is the regulation will likely focus on stablecoins issued through banks and other large license regulated fintechs like Kakao. So, is there a way to play with CBDC and KRWQ? Probably not. But outside of us, I know that in Nigeria, for example, what they've done is they've issued a CBDC called eNaira.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the eNaira has been wrapped by a private entity, wrapped the eNaira, and distributed as CNGN stablecoin. So the underlying, rather than it being some government treasury bond for CNGN, is actually a CBDC. That's how they're able to then distribute it through retail. Because trying to distribute CBDC through retail is there's a lot of challenges there.
Oh. So is like KRW plan to expand to like retail users, and what's the KRWQ over the plan over a few years?
Yeah, definitely. We definitely want retail users. I think I see three very strong use cases for retail. But retail is something that at the moment we'll only look at DeFi for now for retail. Payments, again, we want to make sure we're doing this when the Korean regulators are ready to have some sort of framework onshore. So for retail today, it's really focusing in on DeFi, using KRWQ for yield, working with different partners that, including the layer ones that are very supportive of us.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the market and your readers and your viewers have seen, about 3-4 weeks ago, a big announcement that we did with Solana.
Yeah.
Solana Foundation has been very supportive of us. They are really pushing us to be the Korean won stablecoin for the Solana ecosystem. But to go back for long term, the three use cases for retail that I see is payments. Again, we have to wait for regulation on that. Number two, for lending and borrowing.
Yeah.
So collateralizing KRWQ to borrow US dollar, whether it's USDC, USDT, whatever it might be. And then last but not least, trading FX. Right. So Korean won against JPYC or JPY, or Korean won against Sing dollar, or Korean won against, US dollar or euro. The biggest challenge with FX today in TradFi is the banks take a lot of margin, which is why they try and find best FX price, right?
Yeah.
So outside of the banks, the fintechs have really, picked up a lot of adoption because they give better margin on FX. But when it's on chain, it's even going to be much better margin than the fintechs. That's why I think more retail will come. So yeah, those are the three. So for now, we're working on the FX. We are also starting to, the last month and a half, really focus in on retail DeFi and looking at ways to work with some of the DeFi partners that we've been speaking to try and develop some sort of path for yield using KRWQ.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there's more to come on that. We're working on that diligently now, but there will be some announcements coming shortly around the DeFi stuff for KRWQ.
That's really exciting. I think more on-chain products coming on DeFi, more people can do. So it's really, really exciting these days. You can trade basically most of the trading pairs existing in TradFi. So it's super exciting times. Yeah, I mean the next like 6 to 12 months, change or partners products as a CEO COO. What are you most focused on?
Yeah, for the future, what we will do is the parent company of KRWQ is called Brainpower Labs.
Mm.
And Brainpower Labs is an offshore Cayman entity.
Yeah.
We start with KRWQ, but we will also look at launching other restricted currency stablecoins. So right now we are in discussion to look at launching INRQ, Indian rupee stablecoin, after we get everything set up for KRWQ. So time-wise, we're looking at the second half of the year. We're just starting to do initial discussions around the planning for that now.
Wow, that's super exciting. Covering the multiple currencies, and yeah, I think just really, really exciting time ahead. So I think just to wrap up, where should people go to learn more, and what's the single best next step?
Our website is really good, www.krwq.cash. If at the moment for just retail, we're building out on Solana. As you know, we made the announcement 3
Yeah.
weeks ago. But most of what we've been doing for the last 6 months since we launched at the end of October has been on Base and Aerodrome.
Mhm.
So you can buy and sell KRWQ through Aerodrome. But in the future, we have, as I said, some announcements coming up. There is, just to give you a little hint, there is another large L1 that has been
Mm.
aggressively speaking to us and us speaking to them about building more on their chain.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
so that hopefully we can make some announcements soon. And then the last hint that I will make is that on the reserve asset side, so
Mm.
that we can create more supply of KRWQ,
Mm.
we are speaking to some of the largest financial institutions in Korea. So
Very
hopefully
exciting.
we can make some announcements soon. But these discussions are very, very active, and we're getting very close.
Yeah, thank you so much for the alpha. It's really, that's why we are doing easy alpha. Super bullish on it. Yeah, thank you so much for your time, and looking forward to see KRWQ's future and progress.
Thanks for having me on. It was a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, take care. Bye bye.
Yeah.